G'day, Ronnie Dale, Four Wheeling Australia. Welcome to a video about over-accessorising your vehicle. 10 reasons why you shouldn't. 10 reasons why you shouldn't have a heavy vehicle. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time and I've finally sorted out my own, so now I actually know what I'm talking about. When you see those big Tourers with all this stuff bolted to them, they got awnings, they got roof rack, they got a rooftop tent, they got bull bar, rear bar, they got all this stuff on their vehicle. It's so over-accessorized, but it looks cool. And you look at it and you think, gee, that thing must go anywhere. That must be an unstoppable beast. When in actual fact, it'll probably, more than likely, handle like a sack of lemons or potatoes, or a sack of shit, really. In a lot of cases, a stock vehicle will outperform the big setup tourer when it comes to proper four-wheeling, a proper off-road scenario. You see a lot of people with these overloaded Tourers and they're towing a 3-ton caravan or a 3.5-ton caravan. This is 10 reasons why you should not over-accessorize your vehicle. The number one reason, the first one on the list, is legalities. The one that we all tend to try and avoid, because when it comes to GVM and GCM, let's start with GVM first, but when it comes to GVM, gross vehicle mass, we all kind of cringe a bit because we all know that it's very hard, very hard to stay within the GVM of your vehicle. Now, if you are going to build a big tourer, you are definitely 100% without a doubt going to need a GVM upgrade to be able to stay legal. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to handle well, but you are going to be legal when you're driving around. Should you have an accident and be over GVM, the insurance company does actually have legs to stand on to be able to go and wash their hands clean and not pay you out if they can prove that your vehicle is overweight. Now, if your vehicle is grossly overweight, it's going to be pretty damn obvious. And even worse, should someone in your vehicle, an occupant or an occupant of another vehicle involved in the same accident on the highway, if one of those people dies or has a horrible injury, they're going to investigate, because now it's a serious crash. And that's when they'll find that your vehicle is grossly overweight. If that's the case, you're going to be liable. You may be done for negligence. So I'm not trying to scare you here, but you should be aware. And then we have the combined mass, the gross combined mass, the GCM of your vehicle and your trailer. That has a limit too. Now, increasing your GVM does not increase your GCM. Just keep that in mind. It's a misconception. A lot of people think that if you increase the rating of your vehicle, now your GCM has gone up. It doesn't work like that. One other thing you need to think about here, and this is something that a lot of people don't know, the ball weight on your trailer adds to your GVM of your vehicle. So say your trailer weighs a ton, the ball weight is rated at 100, 150 kilos on that trailer. That 150 kilos adds on top of your GVM, like it subtracts it. So if you load your vehicle right up to GVM and there's no more space, once you put that trailer on, you're over GVM. Keep that in mind. So when you see these massive Tourers with these massive trailers on the back, you know, this 70 series with all this gear on it, the 200 series with all the gear you can think about, it already looks overweight, and then they're towing a big caravan as well, 100% guaranteed that vehicle is overweight. Not legal whatsoever. So keep that in mind. The next topic, an obvious one as well, handling. Handling of your four-wheel drive once you over-accessorize it. If you compare a passenger vehicle to a four-wheel drive, a passenger vehicle already handles way better than a four-wheel drive. The center of gravity is already higher on a four-wheel drive. The tires are already bigger on a four-wheel drive. The handling is not as good as a passenger vehicle. When you start accessorizing it, it gets a little bit worse. When you start over-accessorizing it, it becomes pretty bad. You wouldn't be able to swerve around a cow or a kangaroo on a highway. That's why we put bull bars on them, because you can't swerve. If you try and swerve, you're going to kill yourself, because the car's going to roll over. At 110 kilometers per hour, if you try and swerve around something in an overweight vehicle, in an overloaded, over-accessorized vehicle that's top heavy, yeah, you're going to end up on your roof a couple of times, I'd say. So keep that in mind. The more weight you put up higher, the worse your vehicle is going to handle. The more body roll you're going to get. The more tippy it's going to be off-road as well. This Land Cruiser at one stage was super heavy up top and is now a lot lighter up top. It is so much lighter, and I notice a difference. I'm puckering a lot less when I'm on these angles because it takes a lot less for a vehicle that's top heavy to tip over. People that have big setups with big canopies, they're more encouraged to bring more stuff out, which is going to add a lot more weight. So that is another problem. If you have a big canopy with a lot of space in it, a lot of people try to fill them up. And you'll probably have seen on most of my modified shows, so much stuff gets crammed into these vehicles, and that is because they have a big setup. More stuff can fit in. That is another issue, and another reason why you shouldn't have a big setup. Fuel usage. You have your big full drive tourer setup, your big overland vehicle. It's got everything on it. But the more stuff you put on it, the less range you now have because you're now burning more fuel. So now to get from A to B, compared to the previous time, you've lost range. You can't get there. So now you need to carry more fuel. So now people start adding fuel tanks or carrying a whole heap of jerrys. That adds weight. Now I know that fuel doesn't, or diesel and petrol or gasoline, doesn't add up to the same as water in weight, but it's pretty damn close. So you could almost say it's litre for kilo. So if you need another 100 litres, that's about 100 kilos. That's a lot of weight. You need to consider that. Now I totally understand that if you're in the West Australian outback or in the centre of Australia, you're going to need extended fuel range. Regardless, that is a mod you're probably going to have to do. You're probably going to have to carry a whole heap of jerrys. That is something you can't avoid. But the more stuff you add to your vehicle, the more fuel you have to carry, and you're already overweight, and now you're even more overweight because you've got all that fuel. And with the mentality of, oh yeah, well I'll just use it on the way and then I'll slowly get lighter, you shouldn't really think about it like that because you're still adding a lot of weight. For that period of time, you're still going to be carrying all that weight and you're going to be overweight. Fuel usage. You're going to use a lot more fuel the more crap you put on your vehicle. One last thing I'd like to add to this. If you do have extended fuel range tanks, you've got big tanks, you can hold 200, 300 litres. If you're just going on a weekend trip, you don't need to fill them up. Keep that in mind. You can still keep your vehicle relatively light even with big tanks. You just don't fill them up until you have to. One I know all too well, and that is wear and tear. Wear and tear to your four-wheel drive because you've added so much stuff to it. Now, I've gone through a lot of my driveline, the premature wear on it, damaged, the vehicle's too heavy, pulling too much. You're going to incur more stress on all your driving components. You're going to have to maintain your vehicle more often. You are going to have to spend more money on tyres because the heavier your vehicle is, the more rubber you're going to strip off your tyres just from general driving. Especially on the rear of four-wheel drives because all the weight tends to be behind the vehicle, in the back of the wagon, in the back of the utes. You are going to incur a lot more wear and tear on your vehicle. And it's not just the mechanical part of the vehicle and the tyres and that, it's also the mounts on your vehicle, the tray mounts, the body mounts. Everything is going to have some kind of stress on it, and adding all that weight to your vehicle, it's going to increase that stress. So if you are going corrugations with all that weight on the back, we see it a lot with Tritons actually, and I've seen them firsthand out in the outback. The back of it snaps because they're overloaded on the rear, and all that corrugation is just really wearing that vehicle to the point where it just fatigues and snaps. Keep that in mind, people. You can't have a massive overloaded tourer and think that you can go on all these corrugated roads for hundreds and hundreds of kilometers in a row and not expect to have some kind of wear and tear. One day something will give if you're overweighing it. Towing. We kind of covered this a bit in the GVM, the legality stuff, but I want to specifically talk about towing. Take my vehicle for an example. I have lightened it up so much because I mainly tow. Now, that tow ball weight, as I said earlier, is going to add to your GVM. So you have to keep that in mind. That is also going to exert more stress on your vehicle because you're adding more weight to your vehicle. The tow ball weight, that's the weight that's downforced on your tow ball when it's static. That's not even including when you're driving and it's taking a you know, the force of the gravity going up and down. That's not even taking that into account. It is static. That's how heavy the tow ball is on that trailer. So towing, if you want to tow, and that is what you're setting your vehicle up for, keep it as light as possible. As light as possible. Now you would have seen me in the past with my vehicle, had the big frame, the big steel tray, the box on the back, all that stuff, and I was towing as well. Yeah, not good. And it really wore at the vehicle as well. So if you're going to tow, keep it light. Keep it light. There's no two ways about it. You can't have a heavy vehicle and tow at the same time, especially if you're going off-road. You're just going to end up in trouble. It's not worth it. If you have a heavy, big tourer setup, your car's completely decked out, you don't have much freedom. That vehicle is now a dedicated tourer. It's a heavy, dedicated tourer. It's not good for towing, as we already discussed. It's not good for moving stuff around. Say if you have a tray, you got a big canopy on it, that's on there now. Unless you can jack that thing off and it's easy to get it off, you're kind of stuck with it. You lose freedom. Not having stuff on the back of your ute means you have freedom. It should be a space where you put stuff temporarily and you can take it off, or at least have half a tray. That is just my opinion, by the way. I have half a tray now, and the freedom I have is so much more. If I want to throw a swag in the back, they're big and bulky, I can throw it in the back. If I want to go to the shop and get some furniture and bring it home, I can. So just keep that in mind. You lose freedom if you have a dedicated, heavy, big tourer. Safety Ron on the scene here. We're now talking about safety Ron. I don't like that at all. Anyway, we're talking about braking and stopping distances. If you have a heavy overloaded tourer, your braking and stopping distance is going to be disgusting. It's going to be horribly dangerous, to be quite blunt. When I used to have the big aluminium canopy on the back and I had 2 spare tyres in it, I had the fridge in it, I had so much stuff in it, it was super heavy. And my braking and stopping distance was woeful. Woeful. It was really bad. It was quite dangerous actually. I had to drive to conditions. I never tailgated anyone because all they had to do was brake check me and I'm right into them. Or they had to stop for something, I'll be bang, right into the back of them. You know, stopping distance and braking, that is a massive thing you must consider. I see so many four-wheel drives driving aggressively on the freeway, sitting right up behind these people in a little sedan. It's not cool, man. You don't want to do that. And if something happens, you're going to hit them. You're just lucky it hasn't happened yet. So don't be a dick and drive normally and just factor in your stopping distance. And if you're going to have a big, massive tourer, just look at maybe upgrading your brakes at least. But your stopping distance is going to be compromised big time. All right, people, we're almost there at number 9. Number 9, more costs incurred. It's kind of obvious when you add everything up. First, you have the fuel costs. You're burning more fuel. Then we have maintenance costs. More maintenance. Tires. You go through more tires. What else have we got? We got all the unnecessary gear. You've paid money for that. That's all on your vehicle. You've paid money for all this extra gear. And let's be honest, it's not cheap. It is not cheap stuff. It's expensive. And if you do buy a lot of cheap stuff, it's generally heavier. Like if you buy a cheap roof rack, it's steel, okay? Because that's a cheaper material and it weighs more. You usually have to pay for lightweight stuff. So you're putting all this stuff in your vehicle, even if it's all lightweight, it's costing you a lot of money, a lot of hard-earned cash, which you may one day have to be stripping off your vehicle again because you had a realization, hey, my car is handling like a bag of potatoes, or I'm overweight, I can't tow, or you've been pulled over and you got done for legalities, your GVM. So please, please, please keep this in mind and it'll help you save some moolah, dosh, cash, money. Number 10. So what is number 10? Well, that's up to you. What is your 10th reason, or what is your reason for not having an overweight, heavy tourer? What is your reason to tell people to not over accessorize the vehicle? Comment down below, I would like to know, because I've got 9, you guys can do the last one. Following this video, or when the other one is uploaded, I apologise if you're straight onto this now and the other one's not uploaded yet, it will be soon. It is 10 tips or 10 ways to help you get a lightweight setup. And I think that video is going to be very important to people who have watched this video, because obviously you are concerned about a heavy vehicle. Maybe you're about to build a vehicle, watch this other video and that'll tell you, or that'll give you a good head start and give you a lot of insight in how to get a lightweight setup. Even lighter than this. This is pretty light now, but even lighter than mine. Stay tuned for that. But don't forget to put your 10th reason down below. Like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Patreon.com/RonnieDale if you feel like it. And I'll see you in the next video.